Exciting things are happening on the campus of Northern Kentucky University. A new president, a Division I sports program, and the creation of the cutting-edge College of Informatics. Hello, I'm Kathy Lear, and on this edition of Focus, we'll take a look at how the Highland Heights campus has become one of the fastest growing universities in Kentucky. With over 16,000 students and strong links to the greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky communities, n.k.u is constantly evolving. Today, we'll meet n.k.u's president, learn about some of their innovative programs, and discuss some of the challenges facing the university. Please join me in welcoming Geoffrey Mearns, president of Northern Kentucky University, and Dr. Kevin Kirby, dean with the College of Informatics at Northern Kentucky University. Thank you both for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Let's start with you, Jeff. Before you became n.k.u's fifth president in August of 2012, I believe it was,
correct.
You were provost and senior vice president of academic affairs at Cleveland State. 1 year in, how has that transition been?
The transition has been going very well. I had the good fortune of inheriting an institution that was on the rise, that had been well led by my predecessor, Jim Vitruba, and so the transition has been going very well for me.
When you look at Northern Kentucky University as a whole, what do you see?
Well, the university is a university on the rise. It is a university that is having increasing impact. You spoke about the growing enrollment, but what we're pleased about is not just that the size is growing, but our impact on the community is continuing to grow. And I sense a great deal of pride, not just in Northern Kentucky, but one of the things that makes our institution special is the impact that it's having on the whole metropolitan region.
What some people might not realize or know about you is that you have a former law profession.
Correct.
And you were actually involved in, I believe it was the Oklahoma City bombing
Yes.
case.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how that experience has helped you.
Well, before going into higher education about 8 years ago as the dean of the law school at Cleveland State, I practiced law for 15 years and was a federal prosecutor for about 9 years and then in private practice for more than 7 years. I think it's helped me in the sense that I see one of the responsibilities that I have is being an advocate for the institution, being an advocate among prospective students, their family, and out more broadly out in the community. So I think those advocacy skills have helped me. Also, I think as a trial lawyer, you understand the importance of process. And in order to get things accomplished at a university, it's not just the merits of your ideas, but it's your ability to engage the faculty and the staff in an evaluation of those ideas, going through a certain process to reach the result.
Have you set specific goals for yourself in the university?
Well, we're in the process of finalizing a strategic plan. That plan will be presented to our board very soon, and in connection with that process we are going to then establish very specific metrics that tie to the goals in the plan. And those will include not just increasing enrollment, but increasing our productivity in terms of retention and graduation rates and degree production.
One of the new things at n.k.u is the College of Informatics. Can you tell us, Kevin, exactly what that's all about?
Informatics, it's an exciting idea that really needed an innovative word. You can think of informatics as the art, science, business, and technology of information. It brings together all the information-centric disciplines, from journalism to cybersecurity, from software engineering to public relations. It was a really deep idea n.k.u had, actually originally back in 2005 as a response to the question, how should a university organize for the 21st century? So the idea was to break down the silos, break the barriers between the disciplines for the digital age. In some way we wanted to produce Renaissance people for the digital age. So you wanted a journalist who's comfortable with big data analytics. You want a computer scientist who can write code, but who also can communicate and lead teams. So we wanted to build a college around this idea and combine it with some innovative experiments and experiential learning and a cutting-edge curriculum. So it was actually formed back in 2005, but it really came together almost exactly 2 years ago with the grand opening of Griffin Hall, our state-of-the-art informatics building on our Highland Heights campus.
Big data analytics,
Yes.
What are we talking about?
Well, we now as consumers, as citizens, as social media actors, even as drivers, leave an exhaust of data everywhere we go. What we click on, what we buy. And that data has value and interest to companies, for better or worse to the government, and so on. And there is an interest in extracting actionable knowledge from vast amounts of varied data coming at us very fast. The buzzword for that is big data, but it's not just about big. though informally the term big data means if you've got too much data to fit into a spreadsheet, it's big, something that requires new tools. So what's exciting is that n.k.u is actually one of only 3 bachelor's degree programs in the country around data science, around big data. Normally this is considered master's level material. There are master's programs in business analytics popping up everywhere. But we wanted to take the lead in bringing it to the undergraduate level, because there you can give students a strong foundation in the computing, the business side, the technology side, but also you integrate it with general education, with ethics, with culture, with politics. I mean, you think of the Snowden story, right? There are broad political and cultural connections, and we just do not want to give our students skill sets in big data. We want them to see the broader context.
How has the program been received thus far?
It's exciting. It's, as I speak, it is about 2 months old. We have actually running Data Science 101 right now. And it's getting a lot of attention. Actually, the chair of our computer science department is on a national panel with the chairs from the other 2 universities in the country that have launched this program as a model. So we're very excited about it. We're opening a Center of Data Analytics on campus early next year, which will involve students in many projects analyzing big data.
I wonder how you plan ahead. What is the next big college major? How do you decide? What's the process like?
Well, the process involves having partnerships with the business community and other organizations. We see us as an opportunity to be part of a talent development pipeline. And what we want to do is be out in the community, speaking to business leaders, civic leaders, to find out what they're anticipating their needs will be, not just tomorrow, not just next year, but 5 and 10 years down the road. And it's less about them submitting a request to us than us developing a partnership so that we can supply what serves their interests. And so we see it as part of our community engagement strategy that we will be better positioned to provide those programs that will serve not only our students, but potential employers.
I know when Northern Kentucky University began, it was a heavy concentration of local students.
Right.
That has really changed, hasn't it? Especially with programs like the College of Informatics.
That's correct. In fact, our incoming freshman class, which was the most academically qualified and most diverse freshman class in the history of the university, nearly 40% of our students come from outside Kentucky.
Wow. When it comes to the College of Informatics, who's a good candidate? Who's the student you want to reach out to and say, think about this school?
Well, it's interesting because, you know, I can surely tell you the student we want to graduate, a Renaissance person for the digital age, someone who is not afraid of a little code, but can communicate, understand cultural context, is creative, a problem solver, maybe a bit of a hacker in a good sense. Coming in is more interesting. The opportunity that n.k.u provides to students is to really take students and transform them. One of the most interesting stories we see happening in the College of Informatics is we have some brilliant freshmen coming in, high test scores, but bored to death in high school. Depressing high school transcript, they're wandering around, they're looking for something interesting. They're a little bit unpolished, perhaps a little undisciplined. We come in and engage them with informatics. We put them on our cyber defense team, which is doing an amazing job. We hooked them up with a so-called virtual co-op project in the College of Informatics, where they write mobile apps for companies and nonprofits and startups in the area. So we take them through a curriculum, of course, but we take them through this co-curriculum, which ultimately professionalizes them. And wow, 4 years later, they're a transformed person. They're a Renaissance person in terms of knowledge, but there's a level of confidence also. And that's always been, that kind of story is really deep in n.k.u's DNA.
That's really important, isn't it? Not just learning, but doing.
And that is also one of the central attributes of our university, is the experiential learning opportunities, so students can see the direct relationship between what they're learning in a classroom or in a laboratory and how they're going to apply that knowledge and how they're going to apply those skills, not to just a job, but to a career and a life.
When it comes to public funding for universities, what are we seeing right now?
Well, it is declining, continues to decline all across the country, and that's a result of both the financial constraints that we're continuing to deal with as a result of the recession. But my concern, it's a continuing trend that has been accelerating for more than 20 years, that as a country, we're disinvesting from public education at all levels. And I'm very concerned not just as an educator, but as a parent and as a citizen, that lack of investment, that disinvestment is going to be very troubling for our country in the future. So my hope is that we can persuade people, particularly public officials, about the value of making an investment in higher education.
Based on your experience and what you're seeing over the years, is college getting to be too expensive and too out of the hands of the average everyday person?
We have to be concerned. 20 years ago, we meant access in terms of higher education as being more broadly in terms of the academic preparation of students. Now we have to be concerned about whether it's accessible to people of all socioeconomic groups. The main cause, the principal cause of the increase in tuition at public universities is the lack of public investment. The actual dollars we spend per student now is at n.k.u and in the public universities in Kentucky is less than it was 10 or 15 years ago. So while tuition has been increasing, the tuition has not been keeping pace with the lack of public investment. And this is happening all across the country. So we believe, one, we need to do a better job of being efficient and productive. This isn't a one-way street, but we also do need to recognize as a nation that we need to make an investment in education.
What are some of the other challenges you're facing as we move into 2014 and beyond?
Technology. Technology is a challenge. One of the things, obviously, technology in Kevin's college, we use it as a positive tool, but it also is a competitive weapon. And so there's a proliferation of institutions and also a proliferation of educational opportunities. Technology has the potential to make higher education more affordable, more efficient, more accessible, but it also threatens to disrupt and impede that very important relationship that a faculty member has with a student. And so what Kevin is doing in his college and what we're seeking to do all across the university is to use the benefits of technology not to impede that relationship, but to enhance that relationship. So it's a much more nuanced picture than many people perceive as whether you're going to study online or study in the classroom. We believe it's a complementary or a hybrid approach.
One of the things that you mentioned when you touched on talking about the College of Informatics was cybersecurity.
Yes.
That's something you're also going to be stressing in these classes.
Absolutely. We've identified 4 focal areas within the College of Informatics. Informatics is a pretty broad umbrella. Health information technology, for example, is one of them, mobile, social, big data, but cybersecurity has just come to the fore. I get calls and emails from companies, recruiters looking for specialists in cybersecurity. The internet is insecure, software is unreliable. There's a strange culture of mistrust that has invited attacks. So, how do we get that into a curriculum? In fact, the networking security track in the College of Informatics is the most popular track in what is now the #2 major at all of n.k.u. Information technology. Organizational leadership is first. IT has jumped to #2. In fact, if you consider all the IT-related undergraduate majors at n.k.u, that, at least as of a report from Cincinnati last January, was the largest enrollment in bachelor's programs of any university in the tri-state area. It's exploding, and I think what's driving students into it is this passion for cybersecurity, cyber defense, and perhaps even cyber offense. We have tremendous interest in our cybersecurity team. It's an amazing thing. To keep our curriculum up to date is one thing, and in fact, last summer our curriculum was certified as meeting the standards for the Department of Homeland Security and National Security Agency standards for a Center of Excellence in Information Assurance. But we complement the curriculum with real-world competitions. I think I mentioned briefly a cyber defense competition, a very practical competition. You put a team of 8 students in a room for 2.5 days and give them an actual real network, a corporate style network, not a simulation, and the judges are essentially black hat hackers trying to take it down. And you have to accomplish business tasks while they're out to get you. You're under attack, the equipment might be unreliable. And n.k.u's team has been exceptionally strong. In the Southeast region, we routinely would come in the top 3. In fact, last March, when we moved to the Midwest region, which includes Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, we were the top-ranked public university, 3rd place overall. So this is exciting. It's exciting to students, and it meets a huge need in the industry.
It's going to be a bit of a challenging thing too, because the way everything is changing, the entire landscape.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So one of the things we've been moving into in the College of Informatics is bringing in curriculum consultants from industry. I can, as a computer scientist, I know how to teach Java programming very well, and we have professors who teach Android programming and iPhone programming, but how do you put it in the real world context? How do you keep that vigorous? So we bring in curriculum consultants to help keep things up to date in the courses. And of course we complement it with experiential learning outside the classroom, traditional co-ops, and also these virtual co-ops we arrange on campus.
Jeff, if I had to ask you who's the traditional student at n.k.u, how would you answer that one?
Well, and that's one of the things that makes it an exciting place to be, is we don't have a stereotypical student. So just to give you one statistic, last academic year, 47% of the men and women who received an undergraduate degree from n.k.u were 25 years of age or older when they received their undergraduate diploma. So nearly half of our student population is what we call post-traditional. People used to refer to traditional and non-traditional, but these post-traditional students are actually they now make up more than 50% of the undergraduate demographic across the country. And we're very proud at n.k.u that we serve the traditional student, that is the young man or woman who graduates from high school, comes to the university, lives on campus, and does those kind of traditional collegiate courses and academics. But we serve returning adults, part-time students, returning veterans, and we're very proud of the diversity of our student body.
Now, one thing that has been talked about for a long time was having n.k.u move up from a Division II to a Division I athletic program.
Right.
That's quite an exciting thing. But of course, the next question is going to be, when are you going to add football?
Yeah. Well, let me talk about athletics, and then I'll talk about football. Kevin just mentioned a moment ago how well we're competing in cybersecurity.
Yes.
We are and have been a Division I institution, as that word is used, in academics and in so many other aspects of the program. And so about 2 years ago, the president and the board decided now it was time that athletically we be in Division I. So when it comes to cybersecurity, we're in the Big Ten of cybersecurity.
Obviously,
we're
yes.
now making the transition to Division I athletics. With respect to football, my position is, and I think the position of our board, and really the entire university campus is, we want to prove that we can compete in all of our current sports, that portfolio of sports that we now have at a Division I level. Once we can demonstrate, as we are right now, once we can demonstrate that we're going to be competitive year in and year out in that current portfolio of programs, then we can consider the possibility of adding new sports. So football and other new sports are a little ways down the road.
Got to ask you, how do you define success for the university, for the student?
Yeah, well, I think actually for the success for the university is linked directly to the success of our students. We can't be successful as an institution if our students aren't successful. We measure and assess success for our students in a variety of ways. It includes traditional metrics like retention rates and graduation rates and time to degree, and placement rates, that is, what employment opportunities do our students have when they graduate. Our perspective is that success goes much beyond that. It's preparing students for successful careers in a dynamic world. You know, there's some estimates that something like 30 or 40% of the jobs where people will be employed in 10 or 15 years aren't even in existence right now. So we can't simply prepare a student for a job tomorrow or in 2 years. We have to give them the skills and the attitude and all of the tools to succeed in an extraordinarily dynamic world. That will be success for us, as well as students who are prepared to participate in a meaningful way in the civic discourse of our society and to find rewards in the appreciation of art and music and entertainment.
Kevin, same question. How do you define success for your students? It's a new program, just beginning.
Well, on top of all the measures of success that President Mearns had mentioned here, for informatics in particular, I want our students to really graduate, well, I guess you should sort of fearless, well-rounded individuals. One of the most exciting things about the college is, I mean, we're often associated with just technology, but this is so much more exciting than a College of Information Technology. A College of IT is very 1999. The big idea NKU had is broaden it, deepen it by bringing in communication. The connection between information and communication, computation is very deep. So we have a community where we have journalists, we have filmmakers. Actually, one of our faculty members just completed an amazing zombie western. So I sometimes joke in the College of Informatics we do everything from Android to zombies. So we have this exciting mix. So what I want our graduates to be is not students who've acquired a discrete set of skills as if they took a set of training courses. That's simply not interesting. Those skills expire. I want the success for the College of Informatics, consistent with NKU as a whole, to create these, well, I use the word Renaissance thinkers, problem solvers, hackers, reflective people who can think about the consequences of technology. We talk about the data science program, big data and hacking. The worst thing in the world would be to graduate a student who thinks of it as just an exciting video game. It's not. Massive consequences, and I want them to have opinions and informed opinions about this so they can become leaders.
There's good hacking, there's bad hacking.
Yes.
How do you straddle that fence? There's been a lot of press on the other side.
Well, in fact, there's an industry certification, CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker. It's so-called white hat hackers are very important in industry. You may pay someone to hack in your system to reveal its vulnerabilities. It's actually quite standard now. Actually, it's a bread and butter part of cybersecurity education, white hat hacking. It's a funny world we live in.
What about some of the challenges that you see in the immediate future of NKU?
Yeah, the challenges are some of the financial challenges, and one of the reasons that becomes a challenge for us is it impedes our ability to invest in these kinds of new programs, because we want to continue to maintain a broad, comprehensive array of programs and opportunities for our students because we have so many of them and their interests are varied. But so the constraints on our resources impede our ability to make investments and to enhance our investments in programs like informatics or in our healthcare programs. The other challenge for us is, higher education sometimes is criticized as not being sufficiently dynamic or responsive to change. Given that the world is changing even more rapidly, we need to maintain and enhance a culture that is equally dynamic. That's one of the things that attracted me to NKU, is it's a young, innovative, dynamic institution. You can hear about that in informatics. We want to replicate that all across the university so that we continue to change with the needs of the community and with the interests of our students.
When it was first established, NKU was pretty much a commuter school. Now there's dorms, there's apartments. What does the future hold?
Well, we're in the process of, as I said, completing that strategic plan. I think what you'll see is more residential students. You'll see some more of those traditional undergraduate attributes. But what you'll continue to see us do is to serve that population that we were created to serve in the first place. That is students who live in the area and who have a substantial need for education. So we're going to continue to serve, as I said, a very diverse student population. We're also, one of the things I like when we were talking about strategic planning is to show an aerial photograph of our campus 40 some odd years ago when it was just farmland, and then to show an aerial photograph today. The reason I show those two photographs is they are such an extraordinary contrast, and it gives me great, it's inspiring to me to think what we may be able to achieve in the next 10 or 20 years when I see how rapidly we've grown in terms of size and impact just over the last 30 or 40 years.
What can we expect from NKU when it comes to integration into the community as a whole?
Well, we are now fully ingrained in the Northern Kentucky community. We have a very, it's in our DNA to be involved in community engagement. What I'd like to see is for us to continue to be engaged more broadly on the north side of the Ohio River. We see opportunities for us to serve the community in ways that complement what our friends are doing at the other institutions, including the University of Cincinnati and at Xavier University. We believe that actually the future of the region will depend upon that collaboration among education institutions to create what I hope will be the Cincinnati metropolitan area as an educational destination.
Jeff, Kevin, thank you so much for your time today. A lot of great information.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
For more information about Northern Kentucky University, please visit their website at nku.edu. You may also call them at 859-572-5100. To watch this and other Focus episodes again on demand, you can do so at our website, cetconnect.org/focus. Thank you for watching. I'm Kathy Lair, and we'll see you next time right here on Focus.
Tell us what you think about the programs we air, or let us know if you would like to see a particular topic on Focus. There are several ways you can contact us. You can send your comments by email to focus@cettconnect.org. You can call us at 513-345-6522. Or you can write to us at Focus, care of Andrew Dahman, 1223 Central Parkway, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45214. Any use or rebroadcast of this copyrighted program or portions thereof is prohibited without the expressed written approval of CET.